Hey everyone, hope you're doing good. I'm doing great as always. So in today's video, I want to talk about the process I go through while shooting action sports photography. Now, a lot of times with action sports photography that I do, I'm doing kind of a session with somebody that I know, and here it's Tomomi. We're shooting a little session here in this abandoned spot that he knows about, and don't ask me because I'm not going to tell you where it is. But basically, when you're shooting action sports photography, you very rarely get that one shot, one kill moment when you're doing these sessions. Sure, I do sometimes, but more than not, what I'm doing is going through a process, working towards the final image and working with the athlete in conjunction so we both get an image that we like in the end. So I just kind of wanted to show you the kind of process I go through, and I'll talk over this video here today and let you know what's going through my mind, what I'm looking at, what I'm checking for, and how I'm moving about and communicating with Tomomi as we work to get a good shot that we're both happy with in the end. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please hit me up down below. And yeah, cheers, and I hope you enjoy the video. So we see here, we have me just shooting a little bit, checking the light. Basically, I want to see how bright it is, what I need to do with my session. So I'll take a couple test shots. Always a good idea before you start shooting. You don't want to have a good action shot but terrible lighting and your settings wrong. And now I'm just kind of watching what Tomomi's doing. He's checking the wall. I'm allowing him time to figure out what he wants to do. I'm not pressuring him into coming sooner or later. You see here he wants to do a couple little warm-up jumps, and I'm just basically sitting here and waiting. I'm checking my settings, making sure I'm ready, check my angle, and I know what I want to get, and I'm waiting for him to be ready and prepared. It's all about him. He lets me know. So he's come in, he's hit the wall, and he says, I made a mistake. So right away, I'm double checking my settings, making sure my shutter speed's fast enough, making sure this photo looks interesting. Maybe there's a different angle I want to take. Okay. And he's giving me a little bit of a sign here saying he's going to try it again. So great, let's try again. Comes at me again. He's not too happy with it, and I'm actually not too happy with it either, with as far as a photo wise. But this is where we decided to shoot, so I'm just kind of taking it easy and trying to make sure I get a good first shot. And then once we get one shot down, I will move on. And my communication here is basically, hey, I'm ready, come whenever you want. Again, it's kind of dark where we're shooting, and I'm noticing this in my images right now, I think. And always check your images with your athlete. Now he sees it as he's a little bit too low. And he's telling me that it's hard for him to jump here, which, okay, that's great. We're not going to get a good image if he can't jump properly, so we're going to move. We both really like the graffiti on that wall, so we wanted to shoot there. But in the end, if it's not a possible shoot, then there's no point in forcing it through. So we've moved down, and he's saying that it's brighter here, and I do agree with him. And he's asking if I want to shoot on this wall. Now, I don't like the graffiti on this wall. So I mentioned that the one beside there is actually better. It's brighter, it's more poppy. I really don't understand what this graffiti on the wall is here. And sorry you can't see it in my image here, but in the end, we agreed to move down to this one. And it's a much poppier, much brighter spot. Now while Tomomi is cleaning out the spot to jump, I'm going to move around and see what I can see. Always move around in your environment, check what might be good. I thought I had a decent angle at the first time, but now I see this wall in front of me. I'm going to try to shoot it here, take a test shot again with the light, and it's kind of cool. It's not that bad. I'm trying to really show the graffiti that was in the spot. And so I'm going to give it a try. Now, I can't see his approach here, so I really have to rely on communication here with Tomomi. And in most of these situations, people will say, hey, I'm coming, so get ready. So you can see here he says, I'm coming. I say yes. He hits the wall. Yeah, it's making some bad noises when it hits the wall. I kind of like the shot. It's not that bad. But then I'm thinking like, okay, there's something else maybe I want to do in this image. So I start looking around, and I notice on my left here, there's this puddle. And I really like reflection, so I'm always looking for something to add to the image. Having a clean, straight-on shot is great, but if you can add reflections in puddles or reflections off of windows and stuff like that, it kind of adds like an extra element to the image. And I really like doing that in my photography, and I find I do that quite a lot when I'm out shooting in these kind of locations. Now, as you can see, this is kind of a disgusting little puddle. So while I'm shooting here now, I'm trying to find a position where I'm not laying in this mud and I might have a good camera angle. So I'm having to look at my camera while it's on the ground and I'm crunched down. It's very difficult. And I'm asking Tomomi to wait until I have a good angle.
Okay.
Now I think I have a good angle, so I ask him to come. And I can't really see through my viewfinder or my camera properly, so I'm just slamming down on the burst mode, shooting 9 frames, 10 frames per second, and hopefully the timing works. Normally I would rather see through the viewfinder, but as you can see, it's dirty. But I decide to lay down in the mud here because I really want to be able to see, especially when you're shooting with reflections, you really need to be able to line it up perfectly. And again, I'm asking him to wait while I set up, because he probably can't see me where he's at. And it's disgusting. This is a really gross spot. I got really, really dirty, but in the end, I think it was worth it. So now I'm lying on my side, and again, I tell him I'm ready, and I wait. And here he comes again. And this is actually, I think, this is the best shot we had that day, as far as I'm concerned. I really like this shot. When I was looking at the shot there, I thought maybe I wanted a bit more space above his head. And this is what I say to him. And so I asked him politely if he could do it again. And he says, yeah, sure, I can do this anytime I want. You know, it's always good to talk with your riders, show them what you've done, show them what you think is good. And, you know, if they can do it again, if you ask politely and they can do it again, then usually they're more than happy to do it. But I never force that onto the rider or the athlete. If they say, no, we're done now, then we're done. And I never ask them to do another one again. I will never force them to do it. Especially, you know, if we have a good shot, maybe not a perfect shot because it's my fault, it doesn't matter. If they say we're done, we're done. So now, even though the shot I just got was the best one out of the whole day, looking back, you know, if the rider's willing to do it more, I'm willing to shoot more and try it again. So we work through this process of trying to get the best possible shot. Now, unfortunately, you know, when I was looking at the images afterwards, the one that we just shot was the best shot because of the height and all that stuff. So Tomomi wasn't really getting the best height after this. So I really just liked the shot we got, and it was the favorite one out of the day. So just to recap, you know, while I'm just going to keep showing you what we were doing for the last little bit of this session. The main things are, you know, as a photographer, you need to set your angle and things like that. Your settings, your shutter speed, that's all on you. But when you're working with an athlete like that, it's important to talk with them about where they want to do the trick, to collaborate with them and make a decision together. Because if you just force them to do something somewhere that they're not comfortable doing it, or they're not feeling that it's right for safety in that, then you're not going to get a good image. And if you do, you're not going to be having a good session with that athlete, and they will probably not want to work with you again in the future. So it's always good to collaborate, always good to talk. You know, we picked one of the walls at the beginning which had the cool graffiti, but it was a little too dark and it was a hard approach for Tomomi, so we moved. That was a decision we both made together, and in the end we got a really good image with this reflection that we're both really happy with. You know, I'm moving around in this space, seeing what I can do. I started off with just the first, you know, dead-on shot, pretty basic, but it's always good to start with basic and get that one shot. And then I moved back, put in the wall, try to get some front bokeh on that, and it was okay, you know, it's not a bad shot. And then I noticed the puddle, so I moved there. So I'm constantly moving around. Once I got one shot that I'm pretty happy with, I'll move and change. It's, you know, if the athlete is still willing to keep going and doing it, then I'll keep changing and moving my position, changing higher, lower, moving around the space and seeing what is best. And while I'm doing this, I'm always talking with the athlete. I'm never pressuring them to hurry up, to go faster, to do more. I'm always allowing them the time that they want and need to prepare for their tricks. So, you know, action sports photography is quite unique in that a lot of these things that these athletes are doing are quite dangerous. They could easily harm themselves and hurt themselves. It's always good to give them that time and that freedom to perform as they want. And it's never a good idea to push them and pressure them. It's always a good idea to encourage them, and when they do make their trick and that, to be very, you know, encouraging and being very happy for them and applaud and that kind of sort of thing. But I find it's never a good idea to push them, especially if it's something that's dangerous, that they're not comfortable doing in a spot that they don't know, and there's a chance of them hurting themselves. Because the worst thing you could do is force them to do something, they hurt themselves, and then they're out for the season, they miss a particular work or a particular event, and that's on you. So yeah. This is a pretty quick video. I hope you find it helpful. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. Cheers!